everybody. This is Julie.
And this is Michelle, coming to you from Seattle, the Emerald City, where I'm sure today, because it's 80 degrees outside, the water was sparkling and there's beautiful emeralds something somewhere in this city.
That's right. That's right. And we actually just mixed it up. I don't know if you guys noticed, but usually Michelle says, "Hey, everybody, this is Michelle."
But not today.
Not today. And actually, our topic is very appropriate for a very warm day, right? Because everybody's having a hot flash today.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
Hot flash.
Not just the girls. The guys are having hot flashes too. Well, I guess you guys know what we're going to be talking about.
Do you think?
Yeah. Menopause, not the musical.
Oh, is there a musical? I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, there is.
Menopause, the musical.
It's hilarious.
Is it?
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Totally relate. I went with my mom and my sister.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. It was pretty funny.
Good times.
Yeah. So, hey, that's the age we're at. And you know what? It's part of life.
I think it's a part of a woman's life. Obviously, there are those things that say men do go through some things.
They do. They go through menopause.
Menopause.
That's just what I call it, when they have to deal with women going through it. Or it could be a midlife crisis for a man, maybe.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
I suppose they go through stuff with hormone changes.
For sure.
That, affect their ability to perform or their ability to perform.
Or maybe their ability to perform.
Or, yeah, that could be it too. But of course, that affects us as well.
Yeah. Well, and I say that just because here's where we're at. This is where we're at. And it's part of a woman's life. Mm-hmm. And really, it starts, there's the stages of menopause. But truly, this starts at a very young age for women and all the things physically that we deal with.
Okay. So how old were you when you got your period?
I was 14.
Girlfriend, I was 11.
What?
Yes, I was 11. And I remember it being so traumatic because I didn't want to tell.
11.
Yeah. Summer.
I couldn't even imagine.
July I remember it distinctly because I felt so sick and I wanted to play softball. And I was sicker than a dog. I just did not feel good. And finally told my mom, and they leisurely walked around Green Lake and went to the store, and my mom picked me up something and I stayed home and just waited. And then the next month, so it would have been the second month, we went on a family trip. And of course, it's driving to freaking Yellowstone. I had no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And boom, it starts in the back seat of the car when we're driving. And my dad had a Maverick, which had like vinyl seats.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I didn't want to say anything about stopping. And I finally did. And if I recall, he was a little perturbed that I kind of made a mess in the back seat.
Sure.
So yeah. So dialing back to being adolescent, and then, you go through that.
Well, and I think it's kind of interesting. Just what you were just talking about is telling of the time in which we were that age. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but my mom didn't really talk to me about, I had 4 older sisters.
Did they talk to you?
But it's nothing that we ever really talked about. It always seemed like this kind of
taboo
secret
topic
thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen.
And then we had to use those surfboard things.
Yeah. Maxi pads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Things are so much better now.
Anyways, but all part of being a female.
That's right.
And it starts there. And then we get to, deal with, I'm sorry, but releasing blood from between our legs for a week.
Well,
once a month.
It was funny earlier when we were talking with a younger person who shall remain nameless, but she's 26 and she's related to me anyway. And we were talking about, you're bleeding for a week and you've got your cramping and then your boobs hurt and then you've got maybe a good week and then it all starts over again.
Yeah.
Some people don't have those problems probably or didn't have those so much, but I know I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get into that. And then from there, you're a woman, right? So you've got to deal with all of the hygiene stuff that goes along with that and try to figure it out. And then you're going to have babies.
Oh, joy.
Well, yeah. So you're poked and prodded, having babies and all that kind of stuff. And I've always said, okay, being a woman, I would rather be a woman. If I had to choose, I would choose to be a woman because we get to bring life into this world.
Yeah.
And we get to wear cute shoes.
For sure.
and have cute hair. And, I mean, not, you can do that if you're a guy, I suppose, but it means something extra special to me. That's my solace, right? No, I get really cute clothes and yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're at that stage in our life, right? Where we are going through the back end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I say the back end of it and I kind of chuckle because the back end of it for me started at 42.
Really?
Which is really young.
Well, you started young.
Yeah, yeah. But I remember distinctly when this was coming about, I was on a college visit with my son and we were at the area, the bookstore or whatever. And there were tons of parents there. And I was chatting with one of the parents and I'm talking to him and literally could feel it, this hot flash coming on. It was the first time I ever had experienced that. And it was the best way to describe it for those of you that have not experienced this before is it's kind of like you're a microwave. Like you're heating up from the inside out, like you can feel it coming. And then your face kind of turns red and then the little beads of sweat would start on your forehead.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm having this conversation with this guy, one of the parents, and I can feel all this coming on and I'm trying to be polite and listen at the same time. I'm like, excuse me. And I needed to go, I don't know, somewhere else outside, I think it was. But yeah, there have been many a moment when 2:00 in the morning and I'm like outside on the back porch because
I've fortunately have never experienced a hot flash.
You haven't?
No.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I really don't. I've had nights where, because that's part of menopause is like night sweats.
Yeah.
Sleeping hot. And there are times when I'm hot and I wake up.
Yes, baby, you're hot.
Whew. Ow! I wake up just because I'm hot and yeah, I am sweating a little bit, but I've never experienced what you just described.
Oh my God.
And I've seen women, like I have before talking to somebody when I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw the beads of sweat just all of a sudden coming. I just like felt bad for her.
Oh, talk about, I mean, you really have to readjust everything you're doing. I can remember being in meetings, at work and I would layer up my clothes. Like I could not wear a sweater to save. I could not wear a sweater. I would wear a tank top and then a shirt. And then I might have like a blazer or something so I could like take layers off. Or I'd have to, excuse me, and step out and like go splash water on my face or something. This is so not sexy, but it is what it is, right?
I know it is what it is. And maybe there's some people out there that men in particular might appreciate a little bit more of the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
If they're not married or maybe not in a relationship and aren't really dealing with that with a female in their life, you will probably in some way, shape or form
run across it,
whether it's, I have 4 sons, so,
yeah.
Hey, what's the matter with mom today?
She's
a little mood swings,
There was someone that I had been dating a while ago and he would say, oh, she's flashing. Like, you fucker. You're damn right I'm flashing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got some things to remedy that and I will share that a little bit later. But yeah, you said something about the night sweats too. And that is definitely not sexy, but it's like it doesn't really happen anymore, but I had woken up in the middle of the night and literally had gotten in the shower.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Just like peel everything off, change everything and just get in the shower. It's just awful.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of
why
that story is, hey, we do go through a lot, but that's why we have cute shoes.
Yeah. And we smell good all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we don't smell as nasty anyway.
That must be why they call menopause puberty's older evil sister. Is that true?
Yep. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Girlfriend, it's inevitable like death and like taxes.
Yeah.
Now we can't avoid death. You can't avoid taxes, but you're probably going to get in trouble if you do that.
Yeah.
Definitely pay the taxes. I don't know. I feel like this is a topic that is kind of taboo. Yet another one that we seem to be talking about.
A lot of women stuff that's taboo.
I know. And I just don't think it should be.
No.
It's one of those things like right now in this day and age, we've got, and I won't get super political on here, but we've got a lot of potential legislation and things coming on in the federal government and stuff that has to do with our uteruses and whether we have the rights towards what happens with our bodies. And I get really upset about that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for me because, I'm not going to have any more children, but we have children who are going to have children. And I know lots of different people who obviously we have kids and everything around the same age. And we really I want my daughter to be able to have the rights to her body and all of that it entails, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be. Given that it's kind of a taboo topic, I think it's important that we talk about it. And I think it would be a wonderful thing for men to be able to listen to a little bit more about, because honestly, I don't know that there's a lot of education out there about it and what to expect. And really giving your girl grace, because she is going through an awful lot from a hormonal standpoint, a hormonal change. And I was joking around earlier about the whole batshit crazy comments that had been said to me. And honestly, I probably was a little bit off the charts because my hormones were crazy. But, it maybe came across a little bit differently. But it definitely does affect your moods.
For sure.
Mood swings, I should say, or your level of patience and your sleep, your weight.
Yeah, patience. That's an interesting one, because you said that, and I do see that with myself. My level of patience is less. It's interesting.
I know it's like you could attribute it to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But we'll just attribute it to menopause.
I'm like super patient with my grandkids and but traffic, I don't know. Is that menopausal that I get so impatient with all the other drivers? Is that just a Seattle thing?
I think that's another topic on immediate gratification.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll get into that one later, because I have ideas about, I dream about, being a genie in the bottle and being able to go like that, wiggle my nose or whatever, and be from one spot to the other.
Or beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother, I digress, a whole nother topic.
But yeah, patience. I do see that with myself.
Yeah. It comes with the territory, I think. And with people being patient with you.
Right.
As well.
Right.
So
I know, because there can be forgetfulness at times, I think.
So I wonder if that has been exacerbated by the menopause for me, because I've always been very forgetful.
Yeah.
As my mother would tell you.
As your mother has told me.
Oh, yes. With a smile. That I'm very forgetful. And I always have been. I think I just move on to the next thing rather quickly. But to your point, I think that there is definitely something to be said for the changes in hormones and all that stuff really affecting your mind. And I do worry about that sometimes. I don't know why, if it's because the age we're at now, but I just have this fear of getting Alzheimer's or something. And so I worry when I don't remember things, or like today I was watching, or I was looking for something. I was looking for a Sharpie pen in the kitchen, and I couldn't find one in the kitchen. So I went over into the office and I walked in there. I'm like, what the hell am I looking for? I couldn't remember what I was looking for. And so I walk back to the kitchen, and then I remember, so that I can go back there and get it. Now, I've done that before, and I've literally gone back twice and gone, what was I going to get again?
Yeah, we all do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do that.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
We do, really. I think that's pretty normal.
So would you think that maybe kind of going into our generation and stuff, if we're going to be having conversations about things like this, we really need to add in a modicum of humor?
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's the whole point. I think when people are not looking at this as something that they can talk about or even share with their partner, then they just keep everything to themselves, and kind of it's that proverbial suffer in silence.
Can be daunting.
It can be rather daunting. And I think that our moms probably had that experience where they just kind of went with what they had to, but didn't really talk about it. I mean, I don't remember ever having a conversation with my mom about any of this stuff.
Me neither.
But I mean, maybe they didn't have the same experience with the symptoms.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
I mean, sure they probably did, but I mean, look at my experience compared to yours is completely different.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Right.
Why it would be like that, but I'm jealous. And that you haven't had all those problems.
Yeah, what she means by that statement is, like I was saying earlier, I've never experienced a hot flash. I know when I stopped, when you're premenopausal, or what is the correct term?
I think it's perimenopausal.
Perimenopausal. Yeah. I honestly never even really thought about it until I was around 50. And then when I was like 51, 52, then I started having some sporadic periods.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting how that fucks with your mental.
Oh, yeah.
Because
you
I'm
think
like,
you were pregnant?
yeah.
Can you imagine?
I can remember.
Michelle, let's be a brand new mom at the age of 52.
And it was around the time that I started seeing my sweetheart that I'm with now.
Yeah.
Because we've been seeing each other for 7 years. So I can remember on the down low, taking a pregnancy test just because I didn't have my period, and it kind of freaked me out because that's how it is your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, when I was married and all that, and you're like, during your childbearing years, it's like you missing a period. And it's, for me, I was so Johnny on the spot. It was like, if I didn't have my period, I was pregnant.
Well, Michelle, that's because you use the rhythm method.
Well,
oh my God. Who does that?
And just going back to that, let's dial back, as you like to say. Maybe that's why, because I never really took birth control.
Yeah. And that could be part of it.
Maybe that's why these symptoms of menopause have been much less for me, because I haven't had those. I only had birth control from when I was maybe 20 to 23, maybe 24. Yeah.
Maybe 25.
Yeah.
Before I was married. I was a virgin though, before I was married. Anyway. Joking. But I was close to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of close to that, but I remember I didn't want to even talk to my doctor about any of that.
I know, the same. I just, that's
definitely didn't talk to my mom. I think Mary took me to the clinic or something.
Yeah. My sisters, I did have some conversations with my sisters, but yeah, when I was 50, I started like not having sporadic periods, and then it was every couple of months, and then it was always unexpected. It was never like every 28 days like before. And then all of a sudden I just stopped.
It just stopped.
I never had, because I hear stories, there are some women, God bless your souls, who really have heavy, I'm talking heavy bleeding.
Yeah.
At the end.
That was me.
Yeah.
Well, you get the fibroid cysts
and
all that.
Yeah.
And so the fibroid cysts, and they're painful. They can be kind of painful. So I ended up actually having a partial hysterectomy because of that. And I was finished having kids, so I didn't care. But oh my God, the blessing was that I did not have my period anymore. But I think that threw me into maybe an early menopause too. That might have been part of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All these things. Yeah. Lovely parts of being a woman.
So I was thinking, if we don't use humor and we take things really seriously, I don't know why we would, because we all experience this stuff. I take that back. We experience this if we're lucky enough to live long enough to experience it.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
We're experiencing these things.
Sure.
And yeah, I know somebody who she's a funny person in general, but she'll joke about this shit. And it's just because you can be miserable, or you can just, I'm not saying have fun with it, but just lighten the load a little bit by bringing in some humor.
It's all a natural process.
Yeah, it is.
And let's talk natural process here for a moment. Let's talk about some of these symptoms.
She has a look in her eye.
I know,
when she says that.
I'm looking at this going, oh my God, it's like we go through all this. Okay. Let me just give you some examples of some of the things that people experience. Now, I'm not one to have experienced all of this, but some of us have. So heart and blood vessel diseases.
Ooh.
When your estrogen levels decline. Osteoporosis, by not having enough calcium in your body, and then your hormones going down, so you lose your bone density. And then people that are postmenopausal are more likely to have issues with that. And so I think that's when you see a lot of more elderly ladies falling and like breaking their hip or breaking their arm.
Oh, I was going to say that's me, but I haven't broken a hip or an arm.
No, I fell off. I was trying to turn on the ceiling fan here today because it's hot. And I stepped up on the couch and I tried to put my toe on the table and it tipped over.
And so did Julie.
And so did I. Yeah, I do that kind of stuff a lot. Let's not talk about the time at Home Depot.
No, we won't.
Sexual function. That definitely is something that comes up because it's like just having absolutely no sexual desire. No, just no drive whatsoever. And again, I don't know any guy that's experiencing that really, but I mean, I know a lot of women that have experienced that. And then they kind of get through it and then they're like,
a low sex drive?
Yeah. You know, after they kind of are.
Well, I think for women, maybe part of that too is the dryness that goes along with our age, vaginal dryness.
Vaginal dryness.
That can not be there like it used to be. But that, back a couple episodes, what we were talking about, there's a lot of things that you can use to replace that. So that really doesn't need to be a thing. And if that's what is inhibiting you, sexually, it doesn't have to.
And lube is fun. So I forgot to mention that. Lube is fun. Okay, here's a big one. This is one of the things that I haven't really, I've struggled with this, but I also see a lot of women struggle with this, is the weight gain, because your hormones are all over the place and it's difficult. It's not like you're 20, 30 years old anymore where you can just like drop the weight. And even though you're eating right and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, sleeping, eating, exercising, it still sometimes doesn't come off.
That's me. I maintain.
Yeah.
I'm not hardcore like to the gym, but I am doing things to be physically
yoga
fit for my body. Yeah. And definitely I have my, down times when I'm not eating right, but for the most part, I eat pretty good and healthy like I should. Drink the water intake, but I just maintain. It just maintained. Whereas maybe even 5 years ago, I would have probably dropped weight with some of the things that I do normally now.
Yeah.
So,
well, and even the amount of I do a lot of exercise and I eat pretty good, except, maybe too many peanut butter balls here and there, maybe a seltzer once in a while, like right now. Yeah. But, that it's that midsection thing, and men, it's the same thing. I think they kind of run through a lot of that as well, but it's like, that is the area where people seem to gain a lot of their weight and they can't get rid of it. They get like a poochy tummy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can't spot reduce, it's just, it is what it is. So you've got to stay on it.
Well, and it's interesting because they come up with these cute names for guys, having a dad bod, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dad bod, but you never hear a mom bod. I think it's mom bod.
I think it's called curvy, but maybe there's different variations of curvy. You know? I mean, I don't know. You can have a curvy butt, curvy
is sexy,
curvy boobs, curvy sides. I don't know, but maybe more. I'm thinking more pear shaped.
That's me. I've been a pear shape my whole life.
No, the pear shape is like the menopause shape. It's kind of like, because you have no middle section.
Right.
It's like you've got it's smaller on top, and you've kind of got the middle, and then the bottom is like back to normal where your legs and stuff are. Oh boy. So what we really were thinking about with this is that, we would love for men who have women in their lives to be able to sit through this podcast and listen to some of the experiences that we've had, and understand that the women in your life are probably going through stuff that's very similar. And a lot of them are more than likely suffering in silence because they have never really had the opportunity to have a conversation about it, or their symptoms get minimized. Kind of like, oh, look at, she's flashing, stuff like that, where they're making a joke out of it, which is fine. I didn't really care. But in the big scheme of things, it's like, I really was having a tough time.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. No. It's not a pleasant situation. Yeah.
At all. So what are some of the things that you think that women can do to mitigate some of these symptoms? Have you run across some things that you've done? Like sleep with an ice bag on your back of your neck?
I was just going to say, my sweetheart was so sweet, and got me a fan.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so nice.
A nice fan. He likes it because he
did he get it for himself?
He likes it for you. Maybe. He got it because he likes to sleep with the white noise.
Okay.
But man, I turn that on quite frequently.
Yeah.
In the night to just have cool air circulating in my room, and it definitely helps.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I definitely think that makes a big difference. I know that they have a lot of natural remedies. Like there's some charcoal type remedies that are out there, and estrogen. I think it's like estro, whatever. You can get it at Costco. Just these natural pills that I think help with that sort of thing. I tried all that stuff and it didn't work. So then the doctor gives you the patch, Do you know what see, you haven't had to deal with any of this stuff. So the patch is like an estradiol patch where you can either have it like you have to change it every 3 days. And it's like, it looks like a little Band-Aid and you stick it on your hip and then you have to stick it, then you move it over to the other hip. Or there was another one that was bigger and that looked like a big old bandage, like the kind they give you in the hospital, but it was a circle and that one would stay on for a whole week. But you could tell when it wasn't enough. Like I would have that on and the symptoms are still coming. So whatever the dosage wasn't high enough. So I'd have to increase the dosage.
The symptoms are you talking about hot flashes?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's mostly the hot flashes.
Yeah.
And the sleep. So like the sleep, I don't sleep well.
Oh, okay.
I haven't in a long time, but I know that's a lot of what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hot flashes, I would have done anything to try to eliminate those because it was freaking miserable. And it was a lot. Like, so funny. We'd be at work. Mary and I would be at work, and we're at our desks or whatever, and we're right across from each other. So our computers we're facing each other, kind of. And she was like, "Oh, here it comes."
Oh,
she
boy.
could literally see it, my face like turning red, and then the little, little beads on my forehead, and I'm like, oh God, it was so bad. Yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. I think what I found though, and I found this through someone else, is this naturopath that is in Bellevue here in Washington. I'm sure they have them everywhere, but it's called the Pellet. It's called a pellet, I should say. And they do your blood draw and they check all of your hormone levels and your vitamin levels, your thyroid. They check everything and determine what hormones are lacking or where you need to increase or decrease or what have you. And then what you're deficient in. It's just a good...
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been really good for me.
I know, I was going to say that really worked for you.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I did it, it's like you kind of expect that you're going to not feel great because your body's adjusting to all this stuff. And so it takes a good 3 weeks or 4 weeks to adjust to it. But what they do is after you have your blood draw, they determine what your estrogen levels and progesterone, all that kind of stuff is, and what vitamins you need to increase or what have you. And I went into the office they had over in Bellevue, and it's this tiny little pellet that's like it's like a cocktail, if you will, of the hormones that you need to bring your levels to the appropriate place. So you don't want to get your levels too high and you don't want to have them too low. You want it to be just kind of just right. And then when you've got that based on your blood results, they cut this tiny little, you don't even feel it, this tiny little thing in your like upper butt cheek area, and put the pellet in there and just stick a Band-Aid over it. And then you don't get it wet for a day or something. And the pellet dissolves in your body. And it takes, like I said, about 3 weeks. But after that, I was like, oh my God, I am a new person. Like I was sleeping better. I was not having hot flashes.
Nice.
I was exercising and felt like I was actually making some progress, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that has been kind of a
game changer.
Major game changer. You know what's so ironic about it though? It's not covered by insurance.
Of course not.
But, the little blue pill's covered by insurance.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Okay, I was just going to say that. It's like the blue pill's covered, but this stuff is not covered, what
the actual fuck?
Yeah, that's what the two fucks.
Yeah.
Seriously. But it's worth it to me to pay for it. It's not really cheap.
I was going to say, was it?
It was like $400.
Okay.
Yeah,
for how long?
Well, 4 months or so.
So $100 a month.
Yeah, about $100 a month on average. But I mean, I didn't realize that I needed to have it redone every 4 months. And so I did the first one and then I did another one and then I didn't do it again for like 8 months. And the hot flushes were coming back. And
Interesting.
so I'm like, and Mary's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to go every 4 months or so. And I'm like, well, I felt okay. I thought it was fine. So obviously I just need to keep doing that because it affects helps you with like your skin tone, the vaginal dryness, all that stuff.
I like how she got really close. The vaginal dryness.
Yeah. Lube is your friend.
But there's another one to your point, like what you were just saying is your skin starts losing the elasticity, and your breasts aren't as full and perky, just
just put it out there. How many kids have you had?
I had 4 and I
too.
breastfed them all.
Oh my
so
God.
that all comes into play.
Yeah. It's funny because I really feel like our bodies go through a lot. And the things that, like, I've had 3 C-sections. So, I've been cut open a few times.
Yeah.
And the scars that kind of go along with that and, everything else. And I'm like, you know what? These are kind of like battle scars. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
you're not able, we have them because we have the ability to give life, which is so cool.
It is very cool.
So, it's kind of a trade-off. It is a trade-off. It is what it is.
To the ability to do that, the trade-off. Yeah.
Well, that's
what you have to go through.
That's where the cute shoes and the hair and then, all that comes in.
That must be why they have that. It's a thing now. I've heard push presents.
What's that?
Have you ever heard of that? So a push present is what the dad is supposed to get the wife or the mom for pushing that tiny human out of their body.
Really? Like what kind of gift?
Like whatever.
I never got a gift.
Yeah, I think.
I got a baby.
I think like my son got his wife one time concert tickets to a concert she really wanted to go to. That kind of a thing.
Oh,
it can be a piece of jewelry. It can be whatever whatever mama wants.
Well, you know what? Maybe that's a new generation thing.
Yeah, push present.
Push present. I like that a lot. Okay, guys out there, push present. Remember that.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of a sweet gesture too. Like to your point, what we put our bodies through and what we're going to do.
Yeah.
It's like pushing a watermelon out of a keyhole.
Well, so did you have regular births with all of yours?
I did.
Okay.
I did. All 4 of I actually had them all 4 naturally.
Jeez.
No epidural or anything.
Oh, geez. Well, I had 3 cesareans.
Yeah.
And then Zoe was the only VBAC, and that I liked having the C-sections better.
Oh, yeah.
I know people are surprised that I would say that.
I don't know because I didn't, I didn't have
you get
one,
cut
so,
open, but you don't have to go through everything with your hoo-ha.
Yeah.
I was so terrified of the tearing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're back to the gym or exercise or whatever supposedly later. Although I just kind of went when I felt comfortable. It's like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. And just walked and that kind of thing. Because I don't know about you, but I just wanted to get my body back. I just wanted to be normal, feel normal. But that kind of also goes along with the fact that, remember, I told you before when I was doing the Zachary episode that I almost weighed as much as my husband. So that could have been part of it too. But
yeah. Well, I was more afraid of having sex again after, because, you have a V birth and it's like, it's just so traumatizing.
Lube
like
is
you
your
can't
friend.
think of putting anything else in there.
I
It's
know.
like,
oh yeah, but he's counting the days. 6 weeks, 6 weeks, counting the days,
Oh yeah, all the things.
Yeah.
All the things. So yes, I did have 4 and I did breastfeed them all. And yes, it definitely, between that and gravity at this age, mama's boobs are a little saggy.
Well, they're actually very voluptuous.
They're not bad. They're just
I don't know.
not.
You were wearing that black bikini bathing suit top today when you were washing your car, and I thought you looked kind of hot. And I'm saying that from a completely heterosexual place. I am. But if I was a guy, I would have double checked her for sure.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Thanks, Jules.
Sorry, sweetheart.
Mama feels good now.
Yeah. Anyway, so going back to this, let's talk about not taking things so seriously. So one way you can do that is by talking about it with your friends or talking about it with your daughters or even your sons.
And I think you're right, because I've always, it's been something that I've talked about with girlfriends, but never really a partner. I think
that might possibly be because in all fairness, I don't know that I knew what I was really going through.
Yeah, I was going to say I was probably I was already divorced really before I started recognizably experiencing anything, and then when I was dating who I'm with now, that's kind of when everything was happening. So
Lucky guy.
I just kind of
he walked right into that one, didn't he?
Anyways,
well, it's a trade-off, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of a trade-off now that we're not bleeding anymore.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Then, this would be the alternative. I don't know. I'd maybe rather bleed.
So, yeah, I think that, like Julie was saying, I have been fortunate. I really haven't had to deal with a lot of some of the awful things that there are associated with this. I mean, I've had the weight gain. Like I said, I've had the weight gain, that kind of thing. But watching you kind of go through and trial by error, finding some of the things that have really worked for you. And I guess that's one of the main points here is for women that are experiencing some of those things, especially with the hot flashes. That's the number one complaint from what I was reading about menopause.
It's truly horrible. I don't even know how to explain how horrible it is because it's truly horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, just like even socially, you'd think about, okay, what am I going to wear? Do I have an exit? Like from dinner, like if you're sitting at dinner and you can feel these things coming on, you don't have any control
like
over it.
Pre-plans, like when you're on the plane, knowing where all the exits are.
Yeah, well, not while you're in the air, but
I know.
But you got the right idea.
Yeah.
But we want you guys to really feel like it's okay to acknowledge that this shit's going on with you, or it's going on with your partner, whoever your partner is, and it's all normal, and you can laugh about it, but try to give your partner some grace like I said
and
before.
Understanding. Yeah.
Because there's so much that they might not even really know that's happening or what's going on with them or that it's affecting them that way, because some of the symptoms can be just a part of everyday life too. You know, if you're a stressed out person or you're going through a lot or you're just basically bitchy anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people like that.
Basically bitchy anyways.
And I can't say, oh, it's because of menopause because they've been that way their whole life, right? No names mentioned.
But it's definitely a lot being a woman from an early age up through, the childbearing years, whether you're having children and bearing them or not, your body still goes through so many things.
Yeah, even if you
as
choose
a woman.
not to have children, you still get to the benefit of all of this.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all around, is all around your reproductive system and your hormones and everything.
That's why we're so powerful.
Yeah.
Women. That's why women are powerful beings, and we have a strength like no other, which is...
if we ran this world...
I mean,
there wouldn't be any wars.
I'm just saying.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other topic. On that note, maybe we should just sign off here.
Okay. Before I get myself in political trouble.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate your time and listening, and we will be back to you next week with another topic. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.